Coming up next on Caught on Camera. Experience unforgettable moments through the eyes of the people who were caught on camera.
Hello, I'm Dan Lewis. In the hour ahead, you'll see some of the most memorable Northwest moments that we have caught on camera. And you'll meet the real people who live the events you're about to see. News is what happens when ordinary lives collide with extraordinary events, when a split second changes everything. When the worst that can happen does. We begin with one that sounds like a scene from Jaws, but for Heather Boswell of Seattle, the nightmare attack by a great white shark was all too real. In 1994, Heather was working on a government research ship bound for Antarctica.
We'd been out to sea for about a month with, no land, and everybody was just kind of going a little crazy. And so the captain decided that, we'd have a barbecue because the weather was nice and let people jump in the water. Because, the water looked so inviting. It was all blue and warm.
Heather was one of about 9 swimmers in the water when a lookout yelled shark.
Nobody saw him coming. It was just this guy sitting on a surfboard goofing around, and he's like, "Shark!" And we're like, yeah, he's joking, because you just don't expect Jaws to happen.
The horror that followed was caught on camera by another member of the expedition. Be warned, this actual video of a shark attack might be hard to watch.
When I was down there being shaken around, I completely was thinking that was the end. I was like, should I, go ahead and drown myself so I don't let him eat me alive? Or should I go ahead and let him eat me because, well, it doesn't really hurt.
Oh my God. Get everybody out of here, everybody out of here now. It cut his leg off. It took her leg off. It took it off, it's gone.
The first time I saw the shark, I just turned around and this thing is chewing on me, and I used to see, his dorsal fin was towering over me. It was huge. So he was chewing on my right leg, and then he just let go. And the little boat in the water came around, and they handed me a broomstick. And I grabbed onto the broomstick so they could pull me out of the water. And then he came back and grabbed onto my left leg and jerked me under. And he shook me back and forth. And for some reason, he brought me back up right beside the little boat, and I had my arms up in the air, and the people just grabbed onto my arms and played tug-of-war. And they got me. They got my leg.
Amazingly, Heather's awful experience hasn't kept her from the water.
I did a shark dive in the Bahamas a few years ago.
Although she says it did take some time to overcome her fear.
It was like empowering myself. I figured if I could get over the amount of fear that I felt when I saw those circling the boat, then I could pretty much do anything.
For people in the Northwest, water sports are a way of life, and there's no sport as deeply rooted in Northwest water as hydroplane racing. It also happens to be one of the most dangerous of all racing sports. Just take a look at this. Fortunately, none of the drivers was killed in any of those accidents, but here's one that nearly proved fatal for a spectator. Look at this incredible video of Holly Barkley's near brush with death.
there's been an accident, 2 boats prior to the one that came up over the bank and hit me, and I was right down in front of it, and they landed right in front of us. And we felt really uncomfortable staying in that same spot. So we had moved back on the bank about another 25 feet, up behind the barbed wire fence, up where everybody had been sitting, way up on the levee. All I remember is that he kind of hit a jump and started heading up the bank, and there was no turning. I mean, once that boat's out of control, it was just straight shot up for the crowd. When I saw it hit, and I turned around and kind of glanced over my neck, I thought it was going. As fast as it was going, I thought it was clear over the top of me. I knew I was getting hit, but I thought it was going to go over the top of my head and everything. And it luckily it stopped at my waist. And so I was underneath the boat for a few seconds, just from the waist down. I mean, I'm very fortunate to be able to walk away from this.
The repercussions from this accident continue to haunt Holly Barkley. The eyes of the world were on the water of Puget Sound when the Makah Indian tribe was granted the right to hunt the gray whale again after 70 years. The Makah pursued the hunt as part of their traditional culture and a treaty right. In the spring of 1999, they were successful, but protesters saw it as the senseless slaughter of protected whales. The next spring's hunt sparked an international outcry, and protesters descended on the tiny village of Neah Bay on the Olympic coast of Washington. But one of those protesters, trying to stop the whale hunt, almost cost her life.
I was out there as a nonviolent, direct action protester, but it was never my intent to attempt to hurt anyone. And so it's just to save the life of a gray whale. I saw the harpoonist stand up and throw the harpoon, and it was at that moment that I decided I'm going to go in and do something about this. And that's when I made my move. It was at that moment when I came around, and in defense, I was moving away to get away from the paddles. That's when the water sprayed over them. I go a safe distance away, I turn around. At that moment, I look behind me, I see the Coast Guard boat on me, and it's too late to go any further, and I'm run over at that point. They hit me, I fall off, and fortunately, I was conscious because the propellers was all that was going through my mind. Am I going to get hit by the propellers? So I pushed myself down and away from the boat, off the boat. I'm underneath the boat at this point, and I surface, and when I surfaced, the Makah are laughing at me, and the Coast Guard boat, the men on the boat are just staring at me while I'm screaming in pain that I'm hurt. And eventually they came to help me.
For her part in attempting to block the hunt, Erin pled guilty. She was sentenced to 120 hours of community service and 1 year probation.
Still ahead on Caught on Camera, a parachute jump that goes horribly wrong, a pilot's last heroic act, and a city council meeting that turns ugly.
You can live without it, but it's a big risk. Tomorrow morning, how to shop for health insurance online, plus the most weather and the most traffic on KOMO 4 News at 5 and 6.
Walking around campus, you might want to strut your stuff a little bit. You look good, you feel good.
Yeah.
Oh, you can wear them with a lot of stuff. Like, you could layer them if you want.
Ooh, those look good, Sierra.
Most of the time I'm broke, but when I do scrounge up some money for clothes, head on over to Walmart and pick up something for a reasonable price.
Like these jeans I found that fit me perfectly.
I like those with those shoes.
As long as I look good, then I'll buy it.
Oh, and Ross looks good.
I look good.
RV buyers, get ready. This weekend kicks off the huge Lost Our Lease sale at RV Outlet in Marysville. Everything must go. Prices are slashed up to 40%. We have to reduce 3 stores down to 2, and at least 200 units will be sold. We simply don't have any place to put them. This is your best chance to save big money and get 5.9% financing. And with lower sales tax rates in Marysville, you save even more. We lost our lease, and we need your help. Come to exit 199 in Marysville for incredible RV savings.
His presentation to the board was in an hour, and while he managed to keep that dry, well, he wasn't. Which is why he was pleased to discover that our selection of big and tall was not only extensive, but at prices that, well, wouldn't soak him. After all, he had enough of that for one day.
You'll find big and tall sizes at the Men's Warehouse.
You're gonna like the way you look. I guarantee it.
There you go. Seattle's Space Needle is more than a relic for the 1962 World's Fair. It's an icon of a city and a region looking to the future. And over the years, it's also been the scene of hair-raising accidents caught on camera. Welcome back. On November 21st, 1996, the Space Needle was to be the scene of a carefully planned event. 4 parachutists were going to make a televised jump from the top of the needle. The first jump went flawlessly. And then on the second, Jessica Klootmeyer's main chute didn't open. She plummeted 520 feet to the ground at nearly 65 miles an hour.
You can never be too careful. And jumping the Space Needle was amazing. I'm just so grateful, even now, that I got to do it, and to do it with good friends. And I don't know. I'm going to be all that much more careful next time.
Jessica's miraculous survival left her with a fractured vertebrae in her lower back. But as she recovered in the hospital, she hoped to be jumping again. A year later, the Space Needle was the scene of another freak accident. While installing fireworks for the annual New Year's Eve fireworks extravaganza, pyrotechnician Jeff Kamla's safety line was caught in a descending elevator. Jeff was pulled into the shaft, falling 45 feet onto the top of the elevator car. Stunned and injured, he managed to pull himself onto a crossbeam, where he clung, waiting for help. Seattle firefighters rushed to the scene, climbed to the crossbeam, and pulled Jeff to safety. He was treated for a broken leg, a head laceration, and a concussion. And the scheduled fireworks show went on. Public celebrations are a keystone of community life, but in 1994, the 4th of July celebration in Seeley Lake, Montana, turned to tragedy for the pilot of this plane and a near catastrophe for the children of the town. Onlooker Tim Buffington caught this incredible video. The pilot is believed to have suffered a heart attack while flying over a schoolyard to drop ping pong balls to the kids below in an annual charity event. He was able to steer his plane away from the kids before the plane crashed. A heroic last act that prevented injuries on the ground. Stories of tragedy and heroism often go hand in hand. And so it was with the news of a spectacular bus crash that transfixed the Seattle community over the Thanksgiving holiday in 1998.
Here's breaking news from Como 4 News.
We've been able to confirm is that a passenger on board this bus, a passenger who has now been taken to an area hospital, is a suspect in the shooting death of this bus driver. The bus swerved off of the Aurora Bridge, of course, crashing into this apartment building below.
Christmas shoppers on their way downtown were plunged into terror when a passenger on the bus pulled a gun and shot the driver just as the bus sped toward the high span of the Aurora Avenue Bridge. 33 people were on the bus. The gunman, driver, and one passenger were killed. Dave Birmingham, an off-duty Seattle firefighter, happened to be driving by just after the crash. He was the first rescuer on the scene.
Well, it was complete chaos. People screaming. There were people streaming out of the back end of the bus, screaming for help. There were people on the ground. with horrific injuries that were screaming for help. There was a lot of trauma there, obviously, with 30 some odd plus passengers on the bus. There was just about every traumatic injury you can imagine they had all packed in there. Well, it was very frantic because I knew I had to work very quickly. These people might be within seconds of expiring. And in this case, I didn't have that luxury of having a lot of time. I just had to pick people up and move them. And it was painful for some of the victims over there, I'm sure. I didn't tell anybody that I was a firefighter. We just started working, and every time I asked somebody to do something, they did it without question. And it was just hard walking into a situation like that with no assistance and without any equipment or tools to really do anything while you were there. Everything I had to do, I did with my bare hands. So.
Dave received the Medal of Honor Life-Saving Award from Firehouse Magazine and a Life-Saving Award from the Governor of Washington for his actions that day.
Coming up on Caught on Camera, a wild encounter, escaping a rampaging mudslide, and surviving Mount St. Helens.
It was our anniversary and a great day for sailing. We were near Whidbey Island when our sailboat ran aground. We were scared and called for help. Then we saw your helicopter. We thought you were there just to get a news story, but you stayed and kept circling overhead so the rescue team could find us. We may not have been the big story of the day, but what you did could not have been any bigger for us. Thanks.
The information age is out of control. So i3 Mobile would like to demonstrate how you can get the information and services that matter to you on the wireless device you already have. i3 Mobile carves out and serves up stock quotes, news, horoscopes, weather, sports scores, email, mobile commerce, whatever, wherever. See if your wireless provider is powered by i3 Mobile. Visit i3mobilenow.com. i3 Mobile. The possibilities are wireless.
Now, the million-dollar question. Who's on the next Rosie? Is it A, Dawson's Creek's Joshua Jackson, B, Barbecue King George Foreman, C, Regis, is this your final answer? Melvin! Or D, all of the above? Do you want to use a lifeline? And the final answer, D. No! I would have known it! Plus, Rosie premieres a week-long series of real-life stories.
We see what life is like in a tough neighborhood through the eyes of joyful children who live there.
Next, all-new Rosie.
Today at 4 on Como 4.
Welcome back to Caught on Camera and some video reminders of the awesome power of nature. In the winter of 96-97, the northwestern states were clobbered by a series of major storms that hit us with snow, ice, wind, floods, and mudslides. Together, they made for the worst winter in 50 years. Sure, storms are dangerous, but mud? Take a look at this dramatic video that was captured by a viewer in Oregon.
You know, Phil, you got it? Yeah, look at that. Going right across the road. Look at Weird Park right there. Good thing, wow, look at it, it's coming down the hill here. Whoa! Yes! Go! Yeah! Come on! Yes! Come on, right there, quickly! Get in the back of my truck! Get in the back of my truck! Keep going, keep going! Go, 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 this car! Oh, this is awesome! Dead stop. Wow! Oh my God!
But nothing nature dishes out compares to the sheer power displayed in the 1980 eruption of Mount St. Helens. The whole north face of the mountain collapsed in the largest landslide in recorded history. And that was just the prelude to the blast that leveled old-growth forest 20 miles away and obliterated the sun with a towering cloud of ash. News crews had been covering St. Helens for months, but no one knew the mountain would choose the sunny Sunday morning of May 18th to blow. No one, that is, except a Como TV cameraman who woke up that day with a premonition and headed for the mountain. Little did Dave Crockett know, it was a story that would leave him struggling for his very life. Here's Dave's eyewitness video. Reporter Ken Schramm, who was his news team partner, explains.
Crockett had always had this uncanny sense of things that were about to happen.
I woke up with a feeling that something was going to happen at the mountain and I should be there with my camera. I arrived there just in time for the eruption. That is the sound of my alarm going off. When the mountain started going, I looked back up towards St. Helens again, and I saw a wall of water, mud, and trees coming down the hill towards me very quickly. So I was trapped right in the middle, and right then I really thought I'd had it. And I thought, if I'm going to have any chance of getting out of here at all, that is the way I've got to go. So I grabbed my camera gear, and I started out in that, and that's when the ash hit. The ash and the sulfur hit. Well, dear God, whoever finds this, I don't know. Well, you can't see this, I'm sure it's too dark. I've left the car behind. Rest of the gear, we got one magazine. And as you can tell probably from this picture, I'm walking towards the only light I can see on top of a ridge. I can hear the mountain behind me rumbling. There's an enormous mud and water slide came down and washed out the road. I never really thought I'd believe this or say this, but at this moment, I honest to God believe I'm dead. There's really no way to describe those feelings. I feel the ash now in my eyes. It's getting very hard to breathe. Burnt to breathe. Because I'm able to talk. It's burnt to breathe. Burns my eyes. Oh dear God. My God, this is hell. I just can't describe it. It's pitch black. Just pitch black. This is hell on earth I'm walking through. Oh God. Just one step at a time, if I can just keep walking. God, if I can only, there's more air to breathe. I truly believe that God is probably the reason I'm here today. He had to have been there holding my hand all the way.
He recognized how lucky he was. He thought that what he was saying on his film camera was going to be his legacy. He continued working at Como for a few years after that, but then ultimately just got out of the news photography business. Just didn't want to do it anymore.
A certain amount of danger is part of the job in covering news. You never know what you'll encounter in the field. But we figure this video, shot by a TV crew I was working with on a documentary on gorillas in Africa, takes the prize for close encounters. The 400-pound gorilla sat on the cameraman's legs for a very long 5 minutes, while the crew sat frozen to avoid provoking an attack. The sound you hear there is the crew practicing a breathing technique to keep the gorilla calm, and maybe themselves as well. It must have worked. Thank goodness he slowly walked away. Working behind the camera has its moments, sometimes scary, sometimes downright funny. Here are a few camera mishaps that never made the air.
Look out! Oh no! Catch it! Got it! Yeah! Let's go. No, what?
What I do is I'm going to walk in really fast and kind of go ahead and keep working on the top part there. Oh.
This is not good.
Still to come on Caught on Camera, a doomed dome and the unbelievable fallout from a beached whale.
Breaking news
30 seconds to air.
at Como 4 News.
Live shots on 14.
Just let me know.
When a story breaks,
How much time?
we're there.
Chris is on the scene. He's ready.
Responsible, factual, compassionate.
We know for a fact that nobody's hurt right now.
First with the facts, on the air and on the web.
3, 2,
Como 4 News.
cue Kathy. We have breaking news to tell you about.
Como 4 News. First for breaking news, first for local news.
Consumer Digest rates the Winnebago Adventurer and Fleetwood Bounder as the best buys in Class A motorhomes. Paulsville RV has both of these and sells them lower than the suggested best prices. Consumer Digest rates the Fleetwood Tioga Jamboree and the Winnebago Mini as the best buys in Class C motorhomes. Paulsville RV sells both of them lower than the best prices. Come to Paulsville RV and find Consumer Digest best buys at America's best prices.
Well, the car is basically stock when I bought it. Then I started with amps, then some equalizers. I buy all my stuff at Mobile Fantasy. Everything's the best. These speakers here, they retail for $300. But I got them for $249. Yeah, I'm pretty picky about the stuff that I put in my car, like the gas I put in. I go to Arco. All their gas has clean tech. Keeps everything running smooth. Nobody touches my car but me.
Arco, no better gas, no better deal.
Without the means to space pregnancies apart, millions of families in the developing world are suffering. That's why voluntary contraception is so desperately needed.
Welcome back to Caught on Camera. I'm Dan Lewis. The 24-year-old Kingdom in Seattle, home to baseball's Mariners and football's Seahawks, saw a lot of great action in its day. But its biggest show of all was its last, the implosion that leveled it to make way for a new football stadium. On March 26, 2000, the Kingdom fell to rubble on live TV and before a national audience. Here's a compilation of the spectacular implosion taken from 18 vantage points around and above the structure. It took more than 2 tons of dynamite to bring down the 24-year-old Seattle icon. The force of the blast blew out windows in nearby businesses and registered a reading of 2.4 on the Richter scale. In less than 20 seconds, the 130,000-ton structure was reduced to rubble. A very different kind of explosion shattered a sunny summer afternoon in Bellingham, Washington. An underground gas line leaked into a neighborhood creek and suddenly ignited, sending a massive fireball and giant plume of black smoke almost 30,000 feet into the air. The burning gas at temperatures reaching 2,000 degrees raced down Whatcom Creek along a busy commercial street. The fiery scene was caught on camera by Oliver Oberg.
Just about to walk out the door, and all of a sudden, boom, and the whole building just shook. And everybody just stopped, and then boom, it shook again, and the treadmill stopped, and the lights went out, and I looked at the front door and looked at these billowing clouds and these clawing flames just tearing through the city, kind of in the air, and stepped back in, and I was just like, fire! And I run to my car, and I can just feel the heat, and the smoke is already higher in the building, and it's just pitch black because it's all oil. And I grabbed my camera out of the front seat of my car, and I pull it up to start filming, but it was just so hot, and I didn't know which direction that the fire was going, and so I was just like, man, I'm not risking just standing here, and got in my car and jumped on Iowa Street, and since it runs parallel, I was filming like this as I was driving, and I'm just watching it kind of going down the street. The whole creek was on fire. It was like a wall, and then just from there it was up, going like thousands of feet in the air. There was this smoke, and it just looked like a creature, I mean, it just looked like it was alive because it was growing and growing. It was going wider and growing higher, and all of a sudden I realized, oh my gosh, I have this piece of material that I think people are going to need to see. And I took all the back streets and rushed up to our local station.
The Bellingham pipeline explosion was a terrible tragedy. 2 10-year-old boys and another young man died as a result of the explosion. Their deaths have galvanized efforts to increase restrictions for pipeline safety. Another man-made disaster struck on the water of Lake Washington on November 25, 1990. It cost no lives, but a whole lot of money and inconvenience for commuters. The disaster? The sinking of the Interstate 90 floating bridge. The span was under construction when air chambers that allowed the bridge to float were accidentally left open. During a storm, the chambers filled with water, and a huge chunk of Seattle's major route to its east side communities disappeared into Lake Washington.
Next, the camera captures fighting on the police line and at city council.
Tomorrow on Como 4 News. Your cell phone has no privacy, but high-tech scanners are needed to intercept your calls. See how you are allowing your conversations to be fair game. Tomorrow at 5 o'clock on Como 4 News. First for local news, Como 4 News follows up on your tips. Email us from our homepage at comotv.com or call 1-TD-TIPS-COMO. First for local news, Como 4 News.
It's Sleep Country's brand name sale.
Until Monday, get free financing and a bonus gift on selected purchases.
Save on this Simmons. Oh, look at that beautiful pillow top.
Or this gorgeous Sealy.
You can't beat the price on this spring air. And here comes the Beauty Rest.
Save on Posturepedic and back supporter. Plus, get a free gift. Choose from pillows, blanket, telephone, and more. Terrific savings. A free gift in 6 months, same as cash financing.
But hurry, Sleep Country's brand name sale ends Monday night at 9.
Buy a mattress anywhere else.
Howdy, folks. Do your American duty. Go RVing. Come to the Tacoma Fall RV Show.
That's right. Huge discounts on 2000 models. Preview new 2001 models. Over 500 RVs, dealers from 3 states. See and go inside Elvis's last tour bus. And see an off-road RV that will blow your mind. An off-road RV. Be one of the first 150 people through the door each day. And receive a brand new State Farm Road Atlas.
Stop thinking about this dad-burn election and start thinking about RVing at the Tacoma Fall RV Show. Wednesday through Sunday.
You can't expect children to know the latest school bus traffic laws. The question is, do you? If not, here they are. When you see a school bus with red lights flashing on a 2-lane roadway, cars going both directions must stop. On multiple lane roads, only cars going the same direction as the bus must stop, even cars in the left turn lane. Please know the traffic laws and always keep an eye out for kids.
A message from Unigard Insurance and its independent agents. For kids' sake.
Wheel of Fortune is dropping anchor for another week of fun.
It's Ships Ahoy week.
It's like a week on the Love Boat.
without gopher.
Wheels exciting and new. These contestants are rocking the boat, and it's anyone's guess who'll win big money. Things could get rough.
For the audience, we are passing out malaria pills.
They're winning QE2 cruises, convertibles, and brand new boats.
Shuffleboard, anyone?
Watch all this week on Wheels.
Tonight at 10 on Como 4.
Welcome back to Caught on Camera. For a week in November 1999, the country was riveted to the television screen watching the unfolding drama as the streets of Seattle became a war zone between protesters trying to shut down the World Trade Organization's meeting and police trying to keep the peace. Two film students from the Art Institute of Seattle were taping the confrontations between protesters and police from the safety of their car in a parking lot. A sheriff's deputy in riot gear approached the car and knocked on the window. Shauna Belaski taped the whole incident from the passenger's seat. Here's what she caught on camera.
Melissa Benton was the driver. The officer motioned for us to roll down the window. You think, okay, there's an officer telling us to do something, let's follow along with it. She rolls down the window about 2 or 3 inches, and not even a few seconds later, with the lovely saying, he said, "Tape this bitch," and he unloaded a canister of pepper spray point blank in Melissa Benton's face, and it shows it sprays the camera lens, and then we frantically get out of the area. She was screaming, just a blood-curdling scream. I didn't know what was happening because all I felt was like a bomb going off in my chest. Luckily, I didn't get sprayed in the eyes, but she was saying that she was blind, and she's in the driver's seat, so somehow we switched, and we had 2 bottles of water, luckily, and we poured the water on her face, and she tried getting her contacts out, and at that point, she's still screaming, and I didn't know what to do, so my first reaction was to drive to the hospital.
During this protest, more than 600 people were arrested. More than 50 officers filed injury reports. Officials estimated there was more than $2.5 million in property damage to downtown businesses. It was estimated that Seattle businesses suffered upwards of $20 million in lost retail sales. In the final analysis, the so-called battle in Seattle cost the city and county more than $11 million in overtime and security expenses, not to mention the impact it had on Seattle's reputation.
WTO was something that was very surreal to us. Just the noises, the sounds of the rubber bullet guns going off, and the concussion grenades, and these police that are dressed in riot gear. They look like Darth Vader's, and it's so surreal. It seemed like a big dream almost, but in our case, it was a nightmare. We were basically just trying to finish up shooting for this documentary that we would like to have produced. And we had some great footage earlier on from the evening up on Capitol Hill, and this concluded it. And we never really got to finish our documentary because of the happenings that took place that evening. Why? That's a big question. If I had one thing to ask this officer, I want to know why. Why did he pepper spray us? What did we do to him to make him violate us like that? I understand that most of those cops have been out there 14 hours, no food, no sleep, whatever under that circumstance, but why? Did we deserve that in any way? And why did he say what he said to us? I would like closure.
The King County Sheriff's deputy responsible for the pepper spraying attack was ultimately fired 5 months later.
Clear the street. You're subject to arrest. You're also subject to gas.
Several months before WTO in Seattle, anarchists took to the usually quiet streets of Eugene, Oregon. Rioters targeted large corporations and banks and ravaged peaceful neighborhoods, attacking unsuspecting motorists. Officials believe the group responsible for this riot would later play a similar role in the Seattle confrontation.
Politics can be pretty rough, but you won't see this kind of political fighting very often. In Clarkston, Idaho, a TV camera caught this action at a public city council meeting. The scuffle started when the mayor declared Councilman Bernie McCabe out of order and asked police to remove him from the meeting.
If you do not let us proceed, I will call you out of order.
You can call me out of order all you wish to.
Bernie, would you care to
I'm going to explain to you.
Mr. McCabe.
My response to that officer was, get back in your seat. You have no business here. I mean, this is, there's something out of hand. You're there to take care of confrontation. If there was, the public came in to attack somebody, or there was a riot going on, or something, major catastrophe. That's the reason you're here. It's certainly not to shut someone up from speaking in an open meeting.
I'm going to arrest you for disorderly conduct.
It's not disorderly conduct. This is an open meeting and you're allowed to speak your mind. I happen to be an elected official. You're not. Sit back in your seat. I gave them numerous opportunities to let me leave the meeting in a peaceful manner, but they did not want that to transpire. Just hold on. I'm going to get up and walk out of here. Okay. Please go.
You're under arrest. You're not. No, stand there.
This meeting will be adjourned for a little bit here.
I'm semi-critical of my own self, but I was that naive to believe it would elevate to that level. I couldn't believe that rational people would act in that manner.
Bernie, stop it, please! Please, Bernie, stop it!
I am stopping.
Please,
I want to get up and walk out.
Bernie, please, don't fight him. Don't fight him, Bernie, please. Please don't.
Councilman McCabe sued the city. He won an apology and a settlement.
Coming up next, high wire rescues and the unbelievable fallout from a beached whale.
Can you wake up smarter? Try switching to Como 4 Morning News. With more live time-saver traffic updates, we'll show you how to avoid commuter hassles. More weather and travel advisories let you plan your day, weekend. Your money reports help you get the most from your finances. And more live as it's happening local news keeps you ahead of the headlines. Wake up smarter. Turn to Como 4 Morning News. First for local news, first thing in the morning.
Request permission to land this jackpot. Over. Come on, doggies. Rustle up those millions.
Now's the time for 20 million.
Now with VoiceStream, you can talk to the entire country.
The country, it's a big place, a lot of people.
Without ever leaving your own backyard.
I like the sound of that.
Because VoiceStream gives you free weekends nationwide.
Hello, Tampa, Washington, Baltimore.
Plus 600 anytime minutes. All for $39.99 a month.
Simple as that.
VoiceStream gives you more. Guaranteed.
So, get VoiceStream.
And get more from life.
Hello. Jeopardy's going back to school for a special week of Q&A. It's the ultimate pop quiz for these whiz kids.
Class is now in session.
Kids rule the buzzer, so gather the family and watch as these students make the grade and answer to Mr. Trebek.
What is Pikachu? Who's Marie Curie? What a white blood cell? Who's Martin Luther King?
Yes, I have seen the future, and they're playing Jeopardy.
Your parents giving you advice?
Yeah, wager the whole thing.
Don't miss this special week of Jeopardy!
Tonight at 10:30 on Como 4.
Welcome back to Caught on Camera. For electrifying rescues, it doesn't get any more unusual than this. Firefighters not only had to rescue pilot Mike Warren from a mishap in his private plane, they had to get him out of the plane dangling by one wheel from a high-voltage power line.
I was 60 feet up, no engine, no airspeed, no way. Smoking hole, wake up dead, run your whole day. It was over. I realized I was dead a couple seconds before, but now, what's happening? When is it going to happen? So I just took a big deep breath, said my prayers, thanked for me being there and hoped that it would stay for a while, and then collected my thoughts, cut the power off in the airplane, turned everything off, turned the radio on, put the power back on, one radio on. I called the tower and said, Boeing Tower, Cessna 39 Alpha, said, we have a situation. Firemen came up underneath the aircraft after, like I said, 4 hours, just about to the minute. They came right up underneath my door, and all this time I'd been hanging from a seatbelt. And it was extremely painful after about the first 15 minutes, because I'm hanging upside down from a little skinny belt, just about cutting you in two. I had two options. I figured, number one, hanging there without moving was working real well. I could either lay there forever how long it took for them to get me out, and hurt for that amount of time, or I could release that seatbelt, maybe shift my weight around and never hurt again. So I didn't know how long. I didn't know if I was going to live or not. I still didn't for the whole time I was hanging up there. I wasn't even really sure when they put safety straps on the airplane because I couldn't see a whole bunch from where I was hanging. And so I just took it 1 minute at a time and tried to do things to help the rescuers. Flying is part of my life, and as long as I'm alive, hopefully I'll be able to do it.
In another high-wire drama, firefighters had to climb a 120-foot electrical tower to rescue a 10-year-old autistic boy who climbed to the top because it looked like the ultimate jungle gym. Despite a fear of heights, his older brother climbed to the top to save him. Then they waited 23 minutes at the top where one wrong move would have electrocuted them. This video was shot by a TV crew.
From a high-wire rescue to a high-rise rescue, this frightened peacock caused quite a commotion in downtown Seattle. The fire department came to the rescue of our fair-feathered friend. And brought this high flyer back to Earth.
Coming up next on Caught on Camera, the perils of working on camera and the outrageous solution for a beached whale.
Breaking news
30 seconds to air.
at Como 4 News.
Live shots on 14. Just let me know.
When a story breaks,
How much time?
we're there.
Chris is on the scene. He's ready.
Responsive, factual, compassionate.
We know for a fact that nobody's hurt right now.
First with the facts, on the air and on the web.
3, 2,
Como 4 News.
cue Kathy. We have breaking news to tell you about.
Como 4 News. First for breaking news, first for local news.
Well, welcome to Walmart. I start them off with a hello and how you doing? Good afternoon. How you doing? Just the same feeling that you're greeting people coming into your house. Hi, how are you today? This is my house.
Retirement is for the birds. I'd rather work.
Would you like a smiley face sticker? We talk about the weather. We got a little yakety yak going.
How's the family?
Everybody's fine, and that's the way we do it.
Hugs are great. Hugs are the best.
Let me give you a sticker. We're just a big family at Walmart.
If you come in here without a smile, I'll give you one of mine.
RV buyers, get ready. This weekend kicks off the huge Lost Our Lease sale at RV Outlet in Marysville. Everything must go. Prices are slashed up to 40%. We have to reduce 3 stores down to 2, and at least 200 units will be sold. We simply don't have any place to put them. This is your best chance to save big money and get 5.9% financing. And with lower sales tax rates in Marysville, you save even more. We lost our lease, and we need your help. Come to exit 199 in Marysville for incredible RV savings.
He was a dyed-in-the-wool suit and tie guy, but the interview we had the next day was with an internet company, which meant suits might not be the best option. His question, what was? There are some stores that will sell the same look to everyone. We'd rather see what works best for you. After all, you're not like everyone else, and we won't treat you that way.
Casual know-how at the Men's Warehouse.
You're You're going to like the way you look. I guarantee it.
You can live without it, but it's a big risk. Tomorrow morning, how to shop for health insurance online, plus the most weather and the most traffic on KOMO 4 News at 5 and 6.
For those of us who work in front of the camera, there are those days when things just don't go according to script. Take a look at these clips, and you'll see what I mean.
All you have to do is watch Fox 54 between the hours of 6 and 7 o'clock. It's an amazing event. Summer ticket giveaway. Ooh, that's going to leave a mark. Oh!
This was on a promo shoot at the zoo.
Just listen each night between 6 and 7 p.m. for a Foxtacular summer ticket giveaway. Ooh, that's going to leave a mark.
We're going to leave you with one of the most requested pieces of video ever. It comes out of Oregon. A 45-foot whale beached on the Oregon coast in 1970, and authorities were left with the problem of how to dispose of the carcass. In retrospect, exploding the whale was not such a good idea.
It seemed to be the best idea at the time, at least to Highway Department engineer George Thornton. As he told Lindman on that fateful day, dynamite had solved plenty of problems in the past, and he had a strategy.
Well, I'm confident that it'll work. The only thing is we're not sure just exactly how much explosives it'll take to disintegrate this thing, so the scavengers, seagulls and crabs and whatnot can clean it up.
Thornton settled on 20 cases just to be on the safe side. His crews dug holes, placing the dynamite to blow the whale bits out to sea. As they went about their business, more than 100 people turned out to watch.
Oh, yeah. There were picnics. There were entire families. This is going to be fun. Let's go see the whale.
Only one man expressed concern.
I'm thinking we got big trouble here. 20 cases of dynamite.
Walter Umenhofer had come upon the scene by accident. He'd been looking for property that day, but since he'd worked with dynamite and sand in the military, Umenhofer warned Thornton, who didn't take him very seriously.
This guy says, anyhow, he says, I'm going to have everybody up there on the top of those dunes, far away. And I said, yeah, and I'm going to be the furthest SOB down that way.
According to most accounts, NASA has launched rockets with less fanfare.
They made a big spectacle of waving their hats, their hard hats in the air, and like, clear everybody away and all this, all clear.
The flag drops, the thing goes off.
And they touched that sucker off, and let me tell you, that thing went up, and it was the biggest mushroom cloud you ever seen, and it was red and white and black, and it was nothing but guts and blood and gunk.
Carried by a wind, the cloud moved inland.
So everybody all of a sudden start realizing that, oh my God, here it comes in this mist.
We were covered, we were permeated with redness and the smell.
That would be the least of their problems. Those who witnessed the explosion agreed that the next few moments seemed to last forever. Individual descriptions vary, but it soon became apparent that what should have been little pieces of whale turned out to be big ones.
And this stuff starts hitting the ground. Boom, 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 boom. And all of a sudden you realize, my God, I could be killed by whale blubber here.
And I'm watching this one piece. There's a big piece up there. It's kind of flubbering and floating around.
And we ran. We literally ran.
And it just absolutely stopped. And it came flat down. And kapow!
Right on top of Walter Umenhofer's 1969 Oldsmobile.
It was a neat car. I just got it from Dunham. And it was a Regency. And like I say, the funny thing about their slogan was a whale of a deal. Well, I got a hell of a whale of a deal.
Within 2 days, the state of Oregon wrote Walter Umenhofer a check for the full retail value of his car. A description of the whale event found its way onto the internet. Some of the readers get angry, and then they call Ed Shopes at Oregon's Department of Transportation.
They think it just happened.
But despite all attempts by those involved, curiosity about the exploding whale remains as overwhelming as the carcass. Doug Brazil, the photographer who filmed the original event.
It's just one thing after another here.
Every few days, they get another request to see the footage.
We have the Jeopardy show is interested.
And everybody who contacts me says the same thing. I need to see that video. The Atomic Energy Commission, we work, of course, with explosive devices. We need this for training purposes.
What do they really want? They just want to see the whale blown up.
Every day, unexpected things happen. Whether captured by news crews or home video, those moments become something we'll always talk about and always remember when they're caught on camera. Good night, and thank you for watching.
Fisher Entertainment.